Hello, I am Dr. Iz, an internal medicine physician. I'm driven by one single mission to protect and elevate human health. My goal is to help people prevent diseases, not just the absence of illness, but a complete state of physical and mental well being. Because of this, I constantly strive to find the most natural and effective ways to shield and empower our bodies. I want to walk alongside you to shift how we look at proactive daily healthcare. Helping someone live a longer, happier life is truly the greatest honor for me as a medical professional. Every single day, to discovering the best health solutions for the community. I sincerely hope that I share becomes a helpful companion on your journey to taking care of your body. Let us work together to build a strong foundation for your future health, starting from the smallest daily habits. Thank you for listening, and let us move toward a long, energetic, and thriving life together.
Right now, while you are sitting there watching this, the muscle fibers deep inside your legs are quietly breaking down faster than your body can rebuild them. And here is the part that should stop you cold. Almost nobody over the age of 60 is ever told this is happening. Not until the day a chair becomes a struggle, not until a staircase becomes a mountain, not until one small stumble turns into a fall, and a fall turns into a hospital bed you never fully get up from. I want you to hear me clearly. Your legs are not just getting weaker because you are getting older. Your legs are getting weaker because nobody ever told you what to feed them. And those are two completely different things. One is a life sentence, the other is a solution. Today, I am going to give you that solution. 6 specific foods ranked from helpful all the way up to genuinely transformational foods that can help rebuild leg strength, protect your muscle tissue, and give you back the steadiness and the confidence you thought were gone for good. And the number one food on this list, I will be honest with you, it is something you probably have in your kitchen right now, something you may have been warned to stay away from for the last 30 years. I am saving it for last because once you understand it, you will never look at your grocery list the same way again. But before I go one step further, I want to ask you something personal. And I read every single comment on this channel. So tell me down below, how old are you? And have your legs started to feel weaker, heavier, less steady than they used to? Maybe the stairs feel different now. Maybe getting up from a chair takes a little push you did not used to need. Just type it below. Your story might be the reason another person finds this video and changes their life. Now, let me tell you where I am coming from. For more than 20 years, I sat across from people just like you, people who did everything right, people who were told again and again that weak legs are simply the price of getting old. And I watched that lie steal their independence one small step at a time. Here is what most doctors will never have time to explain in a rushed appointment. There is a landmark study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society that followed older adults with significant lower body weakness, and it found something staggering. That weakness was linked to a dramatically higher risk of losing mobility within just 5 years, higher risk of falls, higher risk of ending up dependent on others. Let that sink in. This was never only about aging. It was about muscle, and muscle responds to what you feed it. So let me be clear about who the real villain is here. It is not your doctor. Your doctor has maybe 7 minutes with you. The villain is the outdated advice. The guidelines written decades ago that told an entire generation to fear fat, to fear eggs, to eat light and lean and bland. That advice quietly starved your muscles of the exact building blocks they needed. It is not your fault. You were following the rules. The rules were wrong. Everything I share today is based on published research and years of clinical experience, but your body is unique. So please confirm anything here with your own doctor before you change your diet or your medication. Think of this as knowledge you bring to your next appointment, not a replacement for it. Now, let me introduce you to someone. I want you to meet Sandra. Sandra is a pattern I have seen dozens of times. So she is a composite, a character built from many real people who walked into my office with the very same story. Sandra is 67, a retired postal worker from Virginia. She spent 30 years walking a mail route. strong legs, proud of them. And then she came to me after her second fall in 6 months. Picture her sitting across from me, hands folded tight in her lap. She leans forward and she says it almost in a whisper. I am afraid of my own staircase now. That was her word. Afraid. A woman who once walked 10 miles a day, afraid to climb her own stairs. I will come back to Sandra in a moment because what happened to her over the next 12 weeks is the whole reason I am making this video. But first, let me start the countdown. And I am counting down from 6 to 1, from powerful to life changing. Coming in at number 6. And this one surprises almost every person I say it to: eggs. I know you have heard the egg debate your entire life. They will raise your cholesterol, they are bad for your heart. Put the yolk down and walk away. And I am telling you, with the full weight of current nutrition science behind me, that this advice, especially for anyone over 60, was one of the most damaging things ever repeated as fact. Here is what eggs actually do for your aging legs. Let me show you what is happening inside your body. Eggs are one of the most complete sources on the planet of something called leucine. Leucine is a amino acid, and if that word means nothing to you, do not worry. Think of leucine as the key that starts the engine of muscle repair. It flips the switch that tells your body, build. Now, here is the cruel twist of aging. After about 65, your muscles develop what researchers call anabolic resistance. In plain words, your muscles get stubborn. They stop listening to normal protein signals. They need a louder trigger to do the same job. And leucine is that louder trigger. 2 whole eggs deliver a strong dose of it. Research from the University of Illinois found that this kind of leucine dose was enough to meaningfully wake up muscle building, even in older adults whose muscles had gone stubborn, even in the exact people who were told eggs were the enemy. But here's what nobody tells you about eggs. The part most people throw away, the yolk, is the part that matters most for you. The yolk carries choline, it carries vitamin D, and it carries compounds that help hold your muscle cell membranes together. As you age, those membranes get fragile. They leak. They lose their grip on the very nutrients your muscles need. The yolk helps protect them. Throwing the yolk away is like buying a car and leaving the engine at the dealership. So how do you use this? 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning, cooked gently in a little olive oil, low heat, not blasted in a dry, hot pan, which damages the delicate proteins. That is it. Simple, cheap, available at any store on earth. Now, if you have been told to avoid eggs for a specific heart condition, do not override that on my word. Bring it to your doctor. For most people, whole eggs are safe and powerful, but your situation is yours. Ask. Now, hold on, because number 5 takes a completely different approach. And if your legs cramp at night, if they ache the moment you wake, this one is for you. Number 5, wild salmon. If your legs feel heavy, if they seize up in the dark, there's a very good chance that quiet inflammation is chewing through your muscle tissue while you sleep. And wild-caught salmon is one of nature's most powerful calming forces against it. The active compounds here are the omega-3 fats. You may have heard them called EPA and DHA. Before your eyes glaze over at those letters, let me paint you a picture. Think of inflammation in your muscle like a fire smoldering inside the walls of an old house. It burns low, it burns slow, and over years, it chars everything around it. The muscle fibers, the nerves that carry the signal from your brain to your legs saying, move. The omega-3 fats in salmon are the firefighters. They do not just soothe that fire. They chemically calm the very compounds your body pumps out in rising amounts after 60. One study from Scotland followed older adults for several months. The group getting omega-3 fats, roughly 3 servings of salmon a week worth, saw a meaningful rise in the rate at which their muscles rebuilt themselves. That is not a pill. That is a fish. And salmon carries a second gift. It is one of the few real food sources of vitamin D, the form your skin struggles to make after 70. Research in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism has tied low vitamin D to muscle weakness, poor balance, and faster muscle loss in older adults. One good serving of wild salmon can cover most of a full day's vitamin D need in one meal. So eat salmon 2 to 3 times a week. Wild caught matters here. Farm salmon has a very different fat profile and does not calm inflammation the same way. Now, I need to be crystal clear about one thing. If you take a blood thinner like warfarin, talk to your doctor before you load up on salmon or fish oil. Omega 3 fats can thin the blood a little more. For most people, that is fine. For you on that medication, it is a conversation to have first. Do not guess, ask, and never stop a prescribed medication on your own. Which brings me to number 4. And this one has an almost mythical reputation among longevity researchers: spinach and the dark leafy greens. Let me ask you something. Think of every older person you have ever seen who moved with real grace, who rose from a chair without pushing off the armrest, who walked without shuffling. I would bet you a great deal that greens were on their plate week after week for decades. Here's the biology, and stay with me because this connects to everything. Somewhere after 75, your body loses much of its ability to recycle a molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the traffic controller for the blood flow in your legs. When it drops, the tiny vessels feeding your muscles start to clog. Nutrients cannot get in, waste cannot get out. Your muscles tire faster, recover slower, and shrink year by year. Spinach, kale, chard, arugula, they are loaded with natural nitrates, and your body turns those nitrates right back into the nitric oxide that aging took from you. You are using food to rebuild the road that time tore up. A study from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden found that this kind of nitrate, at a dose you would get from a large serving of spinach, made older muscles measurably more efficient. The muscle did not grow bigger. It simply got better at using the fuel already arriving. Think of it like tuning an old engine. Same engine, but suddenly it runs smoother, cleaner, longer. And spinach carries something else your legs are probably starving for: magnesium. A huge share of older adults are quietly low in it. Magnesium is the mineral your muscles need to relax. When your calves knot up at night, when your feet curl on their own, that is very often a magnesium cry for help. 1 cup of cooked spinach delivers a serious dose of it in a single serving. Cook your greens in olive oil, always. The fat dramatically lifts how much of the good compounds you actually absorb. Now, here is where I have to slow down and be careful with you, because greens are powerful, and power cuts both ways. If you take warfarin, a blood thinner, greens are very high in vitamin K, and that directly affects how your medication works. This does not mean never eat them. It means keep your intake steady and tell your doctor so they can set your dose around it. And if you have a history of kidney stones, greens are high in oxalates, which can be a concern for you. So talk to your doctor first. For most people, eat them freely. Now, let me bring you back to Sandra, because when I look closely at her, one thing jumped out immediately. For more than a decade, she had been eating exactly what she was told: low fat, no eggs, no yolks, skinless, dry, lean, everything. She had followed the old rules perfectly, and her muscles were slowly, quietly being starved of the very fats and nutrients they needed to hold her up. She had done everything right. And that is what made her angry when she understood it. It was never her failure. It was the failure of advice she was handed 40 years ago and never told to question. Right here, before I give you number 3, I want to pause for 1 second. If this has already shown you something you were never told, just tap that like button. That is all. It costs you nothing. But it tells the algorithm to carry this video to another person over 60 who needs to hear it tonight. That is the whole mission of this channel. All right. Let me keep going. Number 3. And now this is serious territory. Greek yogurt. Most people think of yogurt as a light little snack, something you eat when you are trying to be good. What most people never realize is that full fat Greek yogurt is one of the most powerful muscle building foods available to an aging body, and it is wildly underused by the very people who need it most. Here is why it earns its spot. 1 cup of plain full fat Greek yogurt carries a large dose of high quality protein, and critically, it carries that leucine trigger again, plus the specific amino acids that get absorbed straight into muscle with remarkable ease. This is protein that does not take the scenic route. It goes right where your legs need it. But here is the piece that truly lifts Greek yogurt above a simple protein. It carries live cultures, good bacteria, and those bacteria feed something researchers now call the gut muscle connection. This is newer science, and it is fascinating. Research from the University of California found that a healthier gut in older adults lined up with greater muscle mass, better leg strength, and faster recovery. Your gut, it turns out, is not just digesting your food, it is quietly deciding how much of that food your muscles are even allowed to use. Think of it like restocking a library that has slowly lost half its books. The fuller the shelves, the better your body can find what it needs. So eat your Greek yogurt within about half an hour of any activity. Even a short walk counts. Add a spoon of ground flax if you like. Always choose plain full fat. The low fat versions usually swap the fat for added sugar, and sugar feeds the very inflammation you are fighting. Now, number 2, and I promised you early on that one of the top foods would surprise you. This is the one. Number 2, beets. I can see some of you smiling, some of you doubting me, and I understand completely because beets are not the first thing that leaps to mind when you think about strong legs. But the research on beets and physical performance in older adults is so strong that major sports medicine centers now build them into recovery programs. This is not folk medicine. This is frontier science pointed straight at the aging body. Remember those nitrates I told you about with spinach? Beets carry them in far higher concentration. When those nitrates reach the oxygen-starved tissue of a working muscle, your body converts them into nitric oxide with astonishing efficiency. The result is a wave of blood vessel opening that floods your legs with oxygen and fuel in a way aging vessels usually cannot manage on their own. A study at Wake Forest University found that older adults who had beet juice before moderate exercise showed a striking jump in blood flow to the brain regions that control movement. Let me say that a different way. Beets did not just help the legs, they helped the brain's ability to steer the legs. For anyone worried about falls, about coordination, about that fading connection between mind and muscle, this is enormous. But now I have to stop you because this is the most important sentence in this whole section. If you take blood pressure medication, beets can push your pressure too low. That is not a small thing. Beets and your pills can stack on top of each other. So talk to your doctor before you add beet juice and watch for dizziness or lightheadedness. If you feel it, stop and call your doctor. And if you have ever had kidney stones, beets are high in oxalates, so that is another reason to check first. Do not skip this warning. I put it right here next to the beets on purpose because I need you to hear it while it matters. For most people, roast your beets to concentrate the goodness, or blend raw beets with a little citrus, which helps your body convert them even better. Do not boil them for a long time because the good compounds leak into the water. Now, let me come back to Sandra because the first 2 weeks were not magic. I want to be honest with you about that. Week 1, she called me half laughing, half frustrated. She said, I feel like I am living in my bathroom. The beets and the water were doing their job, and it was annoying. Her legs did not feel different yet, nothing dramatic. And this is the exact moment most people quit. So let me tell you what I told her. And let me tell you what to actually expect. Because if you do not know the timeline, you will give up 3 days in and blame yourself week one. Honestly, it is a little annoying. More trips to the bathroom, no fireworks, push through it. The discomfort is not failure, it is the sign that something is finally moving. Week two, the small signs begin. A little less stiffness rising from a chair. Sleep gets a touch deeper because the leg cramps ease off. Week three, this is the breakthrough window. This is when most of my patients call me genuinely excited, saying something shifted. The stairs feel different. The morning does not start with concrete legs. Week four and beyond, steady, real improvement. The strength keeps building quietly, day after day. I know that first week sounds like a nuisance. So ask yourself one honest question. Is a couple of weeks of minor inconvenience worth keeping the freedom to walk across your own living room on your own for years to come? Sandra decided it was. She stayed with it. And now, number one, the food I promised you at the very start, the one you were probably told for 30 years to fear and to avoid, the one that has been quietly demonized while it may be one of the most protective foods on earth for aging muscle. Number one, extra virgin olive oil. I know some of you expected some exotic powder, some rare superfood. Stay with me because what I am about to tell you about olive oil and your aging muscles will change the way you think about fat forever. Let me start with what makes real extra virgin olive oil different from every other fat on the planet. It carries a natural compound called oleocanthal. And oleocanthal behaves in your body almost like ibuprofen. It quiets the same inflammation pathways that anti inflammatory drugs target. But it does it without the stomach bleeding, the kidney strain, the heart risks that come with taking those drugs for years. And for older adults, so many of whom take anti inflammatories week after week for aches, that difference is enormous. But the muscle benefit runs deeper than calming inflammation. A study from Greece, published in the journal Clinical Nutrition, followed hundreds of older adults for 3 years. Those who used a few tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil every single day had noticeably fewer cases of serious muscle loss than those who rarely touched it, fewer cases of the exact wasting that steals a person's legs. Here is the mechanism, and this is the part researchers find most exciting. The compounds in real olive oil appear to flip on the master switch for muscle building inside your cells. The same switch that leucine flips, the same switch that exercise flips. Only these compounds can help turn it on, even when you are resting. And after 70, when that switch gets harder and harder to flip, that is a gift. Think of it like resetting a thermostat that has been stuck too low for far too long. There is even a compound in olive oil that helps shield the tiny power plants inside your muscle cells from damage. Those power plants make your energy. As they wear down, your muscles produce less, recover slower, and eventually give out. Olive oil helps protect them. Now, how to use it? A few tablespoons a day is the target most of the research points to. Use it as your main cooking fat on low to medium heat. Pour it generously over your eggs, your fish, your greens, all of which you now realize are already on this list. That is not an accident. These 6 foods work as a team. Together, the effect on your strength is far greater than any one of them alone. Buy it in a dark glass bottle. Look for a harvest date, not just an expiration date. Fresh olive oil is medicine. Old, clear, bottled, bargain shelf oil is just fat. One gentle note: olive oil can modestly nudge blood pressure and blood sugar downward. That is usually a good thing. But if you are on medication for either, just let your doctor know you are adding it daily. Simple, safe, just informed. Now, let me finish Sandra's story because you have earned it. By week 12, Sandra walked up her own staircase without touching the railing. For the first time in 2 years, she sent me a message the day it happened. Just 3 words. I did it. And a few weeks later, she told me she was back out in her garden on her knees in the dirt planting tomatoes the way she used to. I want to be honest the way I was honest with her. Sandra's results were on the stronger end of what I usually see. Your body is your own. Some people move faster, some slower. What matters is not her exact timeline. What matters is the direction. And the direction, when you feed your muscles what they have been begging for, is up. So let me bring this home because I do not just want you informed. I want you moved to act. You were never meant to become a passenger in your own life. You were not built to watch from the window while your grandchildren play in the yard. You were not designed to grip the railing on the way down, to skip the family walk, to say no to the dance at the wedding because you are afraid your legs will fail you. That fear is not written into your biology. It was written into you by information you were never given, and today you were given it. And hear me on this, it is not too late. I do not say that to comfort you. I say it as a plain fact. Human muscle keeps its power to grow and repair well into the final decades of life. The body wants to rebuild. It is simply waiting for the raw materials. Your job, starting with your very next meal, is to hand them over. Eggs, wild salmon, a bowl of greens, a cup of Greek yogurt, a couple of roasted beets, and the finest olive oil you can find. Those are not exotic things. They are sitting in grocery stores all over the world. And they hold the power to give you back something most people your age have quietly surrendered: the freedom to move through your own life on your own terms with strength and steadiness and joy. The studies behind everything I said today are listed in the description below. Read them, print them, bring them to your doctor and ask the questions. A good doctor will welcome that conversation. Now, I want to hear from you one more time. Tell me down in the comments, which of these 6 foods are you going to add first? Just type the name of it. Saying it out loud, even in a comment, makes it real. And then do one more thing. Share this with one person you love: your husband, your wife, your sister, your oldest friend, someone whose legs you want walking strong 10 years from now. Send it to them today, not tomorrow, today. And before you go, I did not tell you everything, because there is one habit, something many people do every single morning without a second thought, that quietly works against every food on this list. Next time, I am going to show you exactly what it is and how to undo it. So I will see you in the next one. Until then, eat well, move a little every day, and never once believe that your best years are behind you.